Hello, so today's video is a book review of Five Little Pigs by Agatha Christie. I have featured this book in a couple of my videos recently, and I also asked you guys if you'd like to see a review of it because it was one of my favourites and lots of you said yes, so here I am to do it for you today. If by the end of this review you're interested in getting your hands on a copy, there will be a link down in the description bar below which will take you straight to the book depository, so let's get going. So this book starts off with a 21-year-old woman called Carla who comes to Poirot and asks for his help. She explains that her real name is Caroline. She has the same name as her mother. Her mother was Caroline Crail and her father was Amyas Crail, the artist. Her mother, she explained, died in prison a year into her life sentence she was serving for the murder of her husband. And Carla then goes on to explain that when she turned 21 she came into her own money, but as well as that she also came into possession of a letter her mother wrote her when she was dying in prison, and that letter expresses her innocence. And Carla thinks she's telling the truth, and she asks Poirot, please can you go and find out what really went on all those years ago. And Poirot goes, yes, okay, I remember the case, I was away at the time, but I remember how difficult it was, so yes, I'll go and do it. And there we go. Now, this Agatha Christie book in general is quite different from a lot of her other books. First things first, the murder was 16 years ago. This book was published in 1943, so we're talking the late 20s that the murder actually occurred. And therefore, because it was such a long time ago, there is no fresh evidence available. But what Poirot has to do is he has to go back and he has to read the evidence and all the reports and things like that. He has to go and talk to the police, he talks to the judges, and then most importantly, he talks to the 5 key eyewitnesses, his 5 little pigs. Now, Agatha Christie, she did used to like to use nursery rhymes, and as you can tell, she used one here. She also used one, things like a pocket full of rye, hickory dickory dock, things like that. She used to use nursery rhymes as plots for her books, and this is no exception. So the 5 little pigs are the 5 key eyewitnesses, and those 5 key eyewitnesses are Philip Brake, who was Amyas Crail's best friend, Meredith Blake, who is Philip Brake's brother and was friends with both Amyas and Caroline. Then there is Elsa Greer, who was a 20-year-old woman. She commissioned Amyas to paint a portrait of her, and she was also having an affair with him at the time. Then there is Miss Williams, who is a governess in the house, and then there's Angela Warren, who is Caroline's half-sister. So those are the 5 little pigs, the 5 eyewitnesses. So it's a little bit different to Agatha Christie's usual sort. There aren't billions and billions, there's only 5. Now, I spoke about the fact that I absolutely love this novel, and today I'm going to tell you why I love it. First thing first is those 5 little pigs. There, in this book, is no cardboard characters. Now, Agatha Christie is sometimes known to have cardboard characters because a lot of times she does have quite a few eyewitnesses. You know, she might have 10, 15 eyewitnesses. And if you've got a book that says about 300 pages long, you're not going to spend page upon page of writing down personal details of each of these characters. You're not going to do that. But in this one, she does, because you've only got the 5 eyewitnesses, plus then you've got Caroline and Amyas, and they're the kind of main bulk of the people. Carla and the judges and the police, they're not in it too much, so you don't get to learn that much about them. But there's 7 people that you really get to learn now, and you really get to learn about Caroline and Amyas. So Amyas, you learn he is a painter, he's an absolute womanizer, he likes to drink, he likes to smoke. His main love and passion in his life is art, but there's a bit of something else back there, but I'm not going to spoil it for you as well. And then you have Caroline Crail, who I absolutely fell in love with. I did the afternoon tea book tag, and there was a question, a character too pure for this world, and I spoke about Caroline. She is such a pure woman. She's very kind and loyal. She's beautiful inside and out, but she will call a spade a spade. She's very blunt, but she's a beautiful woman, and she's very headstrong. And I fell for these characters hook, line and sinker, and I think that is something that's really big for me in Agatha Christie, because you don't get that often, but I fell in love with these. Another reason why I love it is the feeling that you get. To be honest, this feels really real to me. It feels like this could have happened, which is a little bit creepy, and I hope it wouldn't, but it did feel so real. My imagination was just running wild. This is also a very emotional read. I really enjoyed that. I love the fact that, you know, my heartstrings were being pulled here, there and everywhere, and it's lovely. If you are quite an imaginative person, just let your imagination run wild, and you'll find this so emotional. Particularly the ending for me was really emotional and hard-hitting when the truth was coming out. I also love how slow and personal this feels. I do feel like a fly on the wall. I'm just sat there as Poirot's sitting down with everyone and having these discussions, and it is really slow. It's not one of those books where something's happened all the time. It is a really slow read. And it should probably be boring because you're hearing the same story from 5 different perspectives, but honestly it isn't. He's interviewing these people about something that's happened, but it's not boring because everyone's got their own ideas of, oh, she did it, she's a murderer, she's malicious, and then someone else will say, oh no, she wouldn't do it, she wouldn't hurt a fly. So it's nice to get this perspective. And for me, I think the best thing about this book is the reveal. It is an absolute humdinger. Everything comes in, the pacing of it, and I think Poirot, Agatha Christie, you know, said that Poirot is vain and pompous. He really is. He loves the sound of his own voice. You know, he really loved the sound of his own voice in here. There's just page upon page of Poirot just riddling off what happened, but it's like someone literally dropped a bomb and we're all just like, ugh. It is so good, and let your imagination run wild. I've had lots of people that say, I've read it, but I don't quite get it. If you don't, then please go read the graphic novel, go and watch the TV adaptation with David Suchet. Some things aren't quite right, but the characters of Amyas and Caroline, the actors play it magnificently, as do the others. So please go and watch that, and if you don't get it, come back to me then. But it is a beautiful read, and I think most importantly it's one that you have to let your imagination just completely run away with you and just let the emotions. I think it's unusual for Agatha Christie to have such an emotional read, but it's beautiful. And you know, when I watch the adaptation I do cry. I haven't cried at the book as of yet, but I have read it 3-4 times now and I love it. But yes, so that is my review of Five Little Pigs by Agatha Christie. I love it so much. And I just want to finish off with a little quote from the book, just to give you that kind of fly on the wall feel. We are only going to discuss some events that happened long ago, to discuss them and perhaps to see more clearly the course of them. As to the ghosts, they will not materialise, but who is to say they are not here in this room, although we cannot see them? Who is to say that Amyas and Caroline Crail are not here listening? That's the ambience of the whole book for me, summed up in those few words, and I hope you enjoy this review. If you have and you want to get your hands on the book, as I said, the link will be down in the description bar. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a big thumbs up for me. Let me know in the comment section if you've read the book. If you have, did you love it as much as I did? If you haven't, are you going to read it now? If you like videos on books, history and vintage, please subscribe, and I shall see you all for the next video. Take care, bye!